Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, Republican from New York. Congresswoman, you introduced a bill just yesterday to hold the Biden administration accountable for inflation now that's rocking beyond a generation.
Yes, Harris, I introduced the Rein in Inflation Act, and this would ensure that any executive action taken by President Biden, that there's a study and an understanding of the inflationary impact. So we know that since Joe Biden has taken office, there has been, through his executive action, nearly $500 billion costing the American people. That has helped light the fire, unfortunately, for this runaway inflation train. And I will tell you, Harris, you just played those clips of the American people who are suffering from inflation. We continue to see Joe Biden and House Democrats downplay this. First, they said it was a high-class problem. Then they said it was transitory. Then they said it was temporary. Then they blamed the war in Ukraine. The American people are smart. They know that these numbers aren't out of date. And the reason they know that is they're feeling this pain, whether they're paying for their grocery bills, whether they're paying the gas at the pump, whether they're paying for everyday goods and services. So people understand that this is the highest rate of inflation that we've seen in a generation.
You mentioned the bill that you have put together now, the Rein Inflation Act. And what part of it, as I understand, is if they stepped to do like a Build Back Better plan again, this would deal with that, because that would be printing more money, putting more money into a system, basically free money, which is where we got where we are now. So check this out. Chad Pergram, our producer on the Hill, wrote Build Back Better budget fight returns. This time amid more inflation. Former Trump economic advisor Steve Moore says more spending will make inflation worse. Let's watch.
That's $600 billion of new taxes on small businesses, $300 billion of new green energy subsidies. All we're doing is spending money on green energy. It has new regulations on our drug industry, and it'll increase government spending and government taxes by another $1 trillion. You know what that is, Sean? That's pouring kerosene on a forest fire.
Congresswoman Stefanik, you must see something that we all don't know yet. You must see something happening on the Hill where you think even more spending is coming.
Well, certainly the Build Back Better agenda, that is the largest tax increase and the largest spending bill ever proposed in our nation's history. If that passes, Steve Moore is exactly right, the economist who stated this is pouring fuel on the already raging inflation fire. What we don't need right now is more reckless spending. That is what has led to this inflation. And it's economics 101. You shouldn't continue to double down on this failed tax and spend agenda when people are really hurting for this. We need to rein in our spending, which is why my bill is called the Rein in Inflation Act, to make sure that there's an understanding of any executive action taken by the president, whether it's canceling of student loans, whether when he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. All of those decisions impact inflation in a way that it increases it and it fuels it. So that is dead on arrival for House Republicans. We will be opposing any more of this reckless spending, let alone, Harris, the fact that so many of the spending bills in terms of the one-party packages that really didn't relate to COVID, there are tens of billions of dollars of unspent funds there that can be repurposed.
Well, where is that money?
That money has not been spent, and yet Democrats are considering, trillion-dollar packages on top of that, which those dollars have not even gone out the door. What we don't hear from House Democrats or this administration is what they're going to do to rein in inflation. They are not having primetime hearings on the #1 issue really hurting the American people, whether it's small businesses, families, farms, you name it.
Talk to me just a little bit, because I know it's unspent, but is there an enumeration someplace where we can get like a dollar figure? Is it a lot of money of COVID? I mean, how could it help?
It's a lot of money. It's tens of billions of dollars of COVID.
There you go.
We were asked this week, do we need another COVID package? And the answer is absolutely not. There's tens of billions of dollars. Those dollars have been unspent. And I will tell you, even in my state, in New York, much of the funds that were sent to New York State, we had to work so hard to make sure that those dollars were given to local school districts, for example, and it was just cutting through bureaucracy. That's my job as a member of Congress, to make sure that the intent is met. But that's how mismanaged this economy has been under this administration and one-party Democrat rule.
So they could not prioritize at a high level, money that this president ran on.
Correct.
Solving COVID. They couldn't prioritize managing that money. That's bad. Okay, pressure is mounting on the Biden administration to go now further on abortion rights. You've heard the president talking about it this week. House Democrats are now pushing the president to declare a public health emergency where abortion is concerned. They claim the U.S. Supreme Court's Roe reversal creates a full-scale reproductive health crisis, and they are looking for federal government intervention. The White House and President Biden have said, yeah, they're going to consider that. Congresswoman?
Yes, House Democrats are putting on the floor the most radical abortion on demand paid for by the taxpayers up until and after birth just this week. I will tell you that goes much further than codifying Roe, which is the talking point they use. As the American people learn more and more about this legislation, it is truly radical. 80% of the American people oppose late-term abortions, yet this bill, as I said, provides taxpayer funding and legalizes abortion nationally up until and after birth in terms of babies that are born alive, particularly those premature babies. House Republicans, we are proud to stand for life. We are proud to stand in opposition to any taxpayer dollars going towards funding abortion. We will oppose this bill, and the Democratic Party has shifted. It was not so long ago that the Democrats' own platform was abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. How much that has changed to on-demand, paid for by the taxpayers up until birth.
So, Congresswoman, has there always been up until and after birth, and you described what that would be like, and that is heartbreaking. I don't know if, and that may be why you can't even get Democrat women to agree to get to that point, right? Which is probably why they didn't codify it when Obama was in office, when they had majorities.
We have the Born Alive Protection Bill, which House Republicans are proud to support. We've passed that in a House Republican majority, and that is standing for life. Born alive babies, they deserve the right to life. There is a reason life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that life comes first. We saw the Democrat governor in Virginia shamefully talk about a baby, holding that baby comfortable before killing that child. That is not where the American people are. That's what I mean when I say up until and after birth. We stand for life. We are proud to stand for life, and we will oppose this very radical anti-life agenda that we're seeing from House Democrats pushing on the floor. And as we look around the globe, Harris, that puts us on the level with North Korea and China. You know, European countries have limits in terms of late-term abortion. What Democrats are proposing puts us on the level with North Korea and China. I certainly don't want to be in that group of countries when it comes to our position on life.
Yeah, there's very little that we want to be yoked with those countries about. Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman from New York, thank you very much for being in focus.